Hello, everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is the very first video that I'm making for this channel. I don't even know what the name of my channel is yet. I haven't decided on a final name. I have a few ideas. I haven't picked one, but I'm making this video anyway because I captured some of the most beautiful autumn photographs from the park yesterday, and it was so beautiful. I wanted to share it in as many bits of content as I could, and one of those is this new YouTube channel about retirees moving to Paris, especially American retirees, since I am American myself. And I've been living in Paris, or in France, I should say, since 2012. Today is uh, November 9th, 2025. So it's been a while, but my story is a bit complicated, right? Because I lived here for 13 years, and in year 13, quite fittingly, my visa was not renewed. So by the time you listen to this video, I'm really not sure if I will be in Paris or if I will not be in Paris. But that all being said, it doesn't erase the 13 years, almost 14 years actually. In February, I will start my 14th year if I'm still here. It doesn't erase all those years of experiences and learning about, the French administration and culture and so on and so forth. And that is what has inspired me to create this YouTube channel, because even if by the time you listen to this, I'm actually back living full time in the United States, I still intend to keep my links with Paris, whether it's keeping my apartment, coming once per year, and so on and so forth. And so I feel like I am a reservoir of information because of those years that I have spent here. I'm not yet retired. As of the making of this video, I still have a few years to go, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, before I can, call myself a retiree. But I'm not too far off, I'm not too far off. And so it's something that is very much in the forefront of my own mind. Where will I spend my retirement, and how will it be? What will it look like? I thought I would be spending it in France, quite frankly. And so, what has recently happened with not getting my visa renewed, and we'll talk about that in another video, is very devastating and very sort of disorienting and very bulversing. It just sort of upsets my whole life plan, because I really thought I would be retiring in France, because I don't think there are many countries in the world that would offer a better retirement and quality of life than France as it is currently constructed. Things could change, right? Things are always changing. So the fact that I think France is a great place to retire today doesn't mean that by the time you listen to this, the laws haven't changed and everything is not different. It could very well be. But as of now, in terms of just the quality of life, in terms of stretching your retirement dollars, in terms of having things to do, places to go as you grow older and older, I do think that France, and in particular Ile-de-France and the Paris region, because that's where I live, although many Americans move all over France, not just in the Paris area, right? So wherever you decide to move, they do that because the quality of life that you can get for your money in France, it's unbeatable. Really, you cannot really compare it. So, what about you? Are you thinking of retiring in France, or Paris to be exact? Because as I said, you are definitely not alone, right? More and more people are looking for a different kind of life in their next chapter. Not necessarily a grand life, not a dramatic life, but certainly a better, or the best one they can, for their resources, their state of health, and so on and so forth. A life with time, with beauty. Excuse me, I had to just cough really quickly. A life with time, with beauty, with a slower rhythm. I mean, look at this park. This is like in Ile-de-France, just outside the 16th arrondissement in Boulogne-Billancourt. There's a park called Ile Saint-Germain, and look, it's just the most stunning place I've ever seen in the autumn, spring, every season really. So people come to France for a life with time, with beauty, with a slower rhythm, um, a life where your days finally feel like they belong to you again. And that's really what this channel is about. It's a slower, more intentional life, for retirees, who want to relocate to France and, probably even more specifically to the Paris area, since that's where I'm familiar with. For many of us, retirement doesn't arrive as a celebration, it arrives as a question. Who am I now? What kind of days do I want to live? What do I want the rest of my life to feel like, right? Paris and France in general, I think, offer something that's hard to find in many places. Right? It's not heaven at all. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. It's not for the faint of heart. I mean, as I said, I've been here since 2012, and it's the hardest thing I've ever had to do to hang on to this, right? And finally, just last year, as I said, it was sort of snatched away, and I'm still in the process of appealing my case and so on, and I don't know how this will be resolved. So it's not for the faint of heart, but if you can get it, take it. It's worth it, right? Um, it's a culture that respects time. These people, they really respect time, where meals are meant to be enjoyed, not rushed, where you walk more and you hurry less, and you really see nature and you see your surroundings. It's a place where your life is not measured by productivity and your bank account necessarily, right? But by your presence. I want to be very honest about the bank account aspect. I mean, as I said, my visa was not renewed and it had to do with my own bank account and the fact that I was deemed to not have enough money, right? So it's not that money doesn't matter in France. I mean, you have to prove that you have enough money to satisfy the government, right? But as a general rule, French people have a lot less money than Americans, and it, life is still pretty amazing, right? So moving to France is not about recreating your old life in a prettier setting, okay? It's about becoming a slightly different version of yourself, right? You won't need a car if you don't want a car in most places. In most places. If you're in the Paris region, you don't need a car, right? If you're in rural France, you probably do, right? It depends. You won't need a big house, although if you have one and if you can get a chateau or something like that, why not, right? Um, you you won't need to accumulate or impress as a general rule, but people are people wherever you go. And people are impressed with certain kinds of things no matter where you live, right? But as a general rule, you in France, you learn to live with less space, less money, etc. And somehow it feels like more. Honestly, it's like a magical thing, right? The point isn't the apartment. The point is the life that unfolds outside the apartment, right? The morning walk to the park, the Sunday market where you buy your fresh fruits and veggies and meats, etc., and your flowers, the cafe where the waiter learns your name, the long conversations with no agenda at all. This is the Paris of retirement for a lot of people, right? Soft and slow and human, right? So, in this channel, I'll try to guide you through the practical side of moving to France and setting yourself up initially, step by step, as much as I can, and offering words of the day, helping you to improve your vocabulary and so on. Because you don't have to be fluent in French necessarily to live in France, but you do want to have some grasp of some of the basic words and vocabulary and so on and so forth. I'll try to help you to apply for, not to help you, but to discuss how to apply for your retirement visa, how to find an apartment without getting scammed, how to open your bank account, what healthcare really looks like, although there's some changes that probably will take place by the time you hear this video, which neighborhoods match which personalities, or even cities, which cities might match your personality, and how to build a community even if you're arriving alone, right? And the cost as well, how much life here really costs at different budgets, because people have different budgets. Moving countries, it's not just paperwork, it's identity, its pace, its rediscovery, I should say. And if you're wondering whether it's too late to start over, it isn't. It's never too late. I mean, people are moving to France in their 70s and starting YouTube channels and just, you know, living their best lives. In fact, it often takes age to understand how precious time really is, and that no matter how much time you have left, it's enough time, right? It's always enough time, right? Paris rewards the person who notices things, who lingers, who lets the moment be enough, right? You don't have to come to Paris or to France to escape your life. You come here to return to yourself and to your life as you see it and as you make it. So if you're thinking about this, really thinking about it, moving to France, moving to the Paris area, I invite you to follow my channel, subscribe, leave comments, encourage me to keep going, ask questions, right? And yeah, just be a part of the community. There's a Paris that isn't about tourism or fantasy or performance, right? There's a Paris where your daily life can be gentle, meaningful, and yours, all yours, right? And you're not too late. You are right on time, my friend. So, as I said, definitely subscribe to the channel and leave me a comment. Tell me where you're from, even if you're not American, and when you're thinking of moving to France, and which part of France and why. I'd love to hear from you.